present the first of our 2010 commencement student speakers, a marketing anthropology major from the University Without Walls, Mr. Mark Sarasulo.
The first thought crossing your mind as you see me walk up here is probably, how many times do they hold this guy back? But it was something I elected to do. The year was 1974, and it was also a time of hope and change in Washington, in the sense that we were hoping that they'd remember to change the locks in the White House as the current occupant, his name escapes me, was sneaking out through the back door. We were still 3 recessions away from this one, and in fact, we were just coming out of a very bad recession that year. So no one thought too much about their prospects for their immediate future then. I mean, we still had the disco era to get through. And at that time, taking a semester off to take a job seemed like a pretty good idea. I never intended to take 62 more semesters off, of course. No one ever drops out for good. They just drop out for a little while. And since I knew what kind of work I wanted to do, I started finding some good opportunities in which to do it, and some success at that. But the one thing I was missing is something that all of you here today are going to leave with, and that's the fact that unlike me, you won't be limited by your experiences. I had to learn about the limits of experience the hard way. Now, there's no one sitting here today graduating that doesn't have any fears about their immediate future, who's wondering how they're going to meet the challenge of getting some experience in what's a very challenging job market. But job markets change in cycles, and cycles turn as they always do, and fears fade, except for those who don't get this far, because they'll never lose their fear of not having the right knowledge with them. I didn't realize what this graduation experience today was worth until I decided to go back and straighten out what I thought was just a lack of a piece of paper. After all, with some 3 decades of work experience behind me, I didn't think I had all that much to learn. So when I returned to the classroom for the first time in decades, and in a business class no less, it was a class I felt confident to teach. And in fact, there were students coming up to me because they thought the old guy was their prof, and they were asking me for the syllabus. So I wasn't prepared for an instructor who zeroed right in on me and told me the one thing that pushed me to this place today. He said, you guys with tons of real-world experience have a lot you can contribute, but the one thing you don't have is theory to put behind what you practice. You can't effectively analyze and build on your experience and move beyond it. All you can do is default to your level of experience, and you'll always be limited by it. Well, we're here to help. He was absolutely right, of course, and I found out a lot later that along with being a teacher, he was also a respected and highly paid organizational consultant in his spare time. I'd been to all the dots, but until my education was complete, I'd never be able to connect them accurately. I knew how to turn a profit out of any tree well, you get the idea. So as you leave here today, as we leave here today, we can be confident in the fact that because of this remarkable gift of an education, we go forward without the limits of experience. And no amount of experience can compete with that, or with you if you put it to work. The great educator Henry Cardinal Newman once said, if we insist on being as sure as is conceivable, we must be content to creep along the ground, and we will never soar. Those locked into their limits of experience will always be obsessed about what can happen because they've always been there and done that. I've come to learn by coming back here and taking a place with you, the ones who soar are the ones who can change what will happen, because we're no longer limited by being sure, and we can conceive way beyond that. And just think, you'll have a lot more time to put your education to work than I did. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sarasulo.